I'll give you guys a quick little story time, okay? So on September 2001, I remember exactly where I was. I was in sixth grade at Pulaski Middle School in New Britain, Connecticut, and I was sitting in my English language arts class. And I remember getting, the loudspeaker right back then. It goes, "Hey, everybody," like one of those old shitty loudspeakers, and they say, "Hey, something terrible happened in New York. We're going to end school early," right? So all of us were like, "Yeah, woo!" Because it was like 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So we were like super excited, right? And we're like, "Yeah, woo! Let's get out of here." We were all excited, and we got the hell out of there, right? So I'm going home. I'm like, "Yeah, this is gonna be lit. I'm gonna play video games." Nobody really knew what was going on, right? We're all sixth grade kids. I was 11 years old at the time, and I remember getting home, and I remember going to the TV, and my dad is watching the news, and they're showing like images of like a plane hitting a building, and I was like, "What the hell?" And it was like surreal. Like I didn't think it was real. I thought he was like watching a movie or something like that. And even he was like, "Yeah, we got attacked." Like he knew because at that point, like they were kind of suspecting like a terrorist attack, or whatever. That America's under attack. But guys, remember, it was mayhem, right? There was planes flying everywhere. People, one of the planes crashed in Pennsylvania, or was it Pennsylvania or Virginia, whatever it may be, and it was just pandemonium. It was just pandemonium, right? Uh, and no one really knew what the hell was going on at the time. So after that, though, right? Let's fast forward a little bit. After the 9/11 attacks, I remember getting picked on a lot. Okay, as you guys can see, the way that I look, I can easily be, I grew up in a Muslim household. My family are from Sudan. So people were, "Oh, are you Indian? You Pakistani? Oh, your uncle attacked us." Da, da, da. And they made a bunch of jokes on, my background, everything else like that. I don't really care too much, right? It made me have very thick skin. If you guys wonder why I have such a sense of humor or whatever it may be, or I don't get offended, the reason why is because I got bullied a lot in school, especially after 9/11. I mean, hell, I remember them saying, "Oh, Bin Laden's your uncle," and Saddam is, after they killed Saddam in like '05, they're like, "Oh yeah, we killed your dad." Like, it was fucked up shit, but it was funny, right? It is what it is. You got to get a sense of humor. But what I will say is one thing I do remember from back then is that um, my mom got harassed a lot. That's one thing I do remember. She got harassed a lot because she would cover her hair. And after 9/11, people weren't so happy with anyone that was Muslim at the time. So I remember one time someone drove by. I think we were like at Target or something like that, or Walmart. Somebody drove by and like said something crazy to her. And the look on her face was just like, "Ah, fucking again," right? And I was like, "Man, I'm gonna work in law enforcement so that we can go ahead and get the fucking guys that did this shit, so no one else has to ever deal with that." You know? Obviously I'm not like excusing that idiot's, ignorance for, insulting my mom just because she wore a hijab. But, a lot of good Muslims like suffered the consequences after 9/11 simply for, what the religion they practice, right? And obviously, these extremists fuck it up for everybody else. So anybody else that's Muslim or comes from that part of the world, the Middle East or India or Pakistan or Asia or wherever it may be, you guys know what I'm talking about after 9/11. Hell, even if you weren't, let's say you weren't Muslim, but you were like Hindu or something like that, they still gave you the same type of energy because people were ignorant, they didn't know the difference. So that definitely motivated me to get into law enforcement. People ask all the time, "Hey, what like inspired you?" 9/11 was a big inspiration. And 9/11 guys actually created the Department of Homeland Security in 2003. The Homeland Security Act was, pretty much enacted to kind of thwart terrorism. And a big reason why was because the agencies weren't working together. A big part of, and when I'm going to talk about this in detail when I break down the 9/11 case for y'all, but a big reason why the terrorists are able to even get on the planes and get the visas and everything else like that was because agencies weren't sharing information. And what happened with the Homeland Security Act is they combined some agencies to kind of make things a bit easier. And two of the agencies that they combined are the agency that I worked for before I resigned, which was Homeland Security Investigations. It was Legacy prior to that, U.S. Customs Service, and Immigration Naturalization Service. And then they went ahead and merged the two agencies together, and they created something called ICE, or Immigration Customs Enforcement. And then within ICE, there's two components of that. Okay, there's Homeland Security Investigations, with the special agents that do the criminal cases. Then you got Enforcement and Removal Operations, ERO, right? And they're tasked with actually, removing and deporting illegal aliens and apprehending them as well. Okay,